So the thing about supplements is precisely as the name implies that they're supplementary. They're not necessities. We don't go to the necessity store and load up our cart with necessities and bring it home and scoop some necessity powder in it. No. We go to the supplement store. We buy supplements off the shelf, we load up our cart, we bring them home in the hopes that when we add them, supplementary, on top of the basic building blocks of the plan we already have in place, it'll give us an edge. Now, the plan being in place is very important because without the basic building blocks of a plan, we are spinning our wheels, we're wasting our time. Without basics in place, don't even bother with the supplements. For an example, you go to a supplement store, you buy the most expensive, fancy, designer protein on the shelf, you put it in your cart, you bring it home, and you start scooping it every day and taking it, but without a plan. You're not going to the gym, you're not exercising, you're not doing anything with that. You're not going to accomplish anything. You'll probably put weight on because you're adding calories in your mouth, but you're not actually accomplishing a plan. There is no plan in place. You need to have a plan, even if it's a mediocre one. And it's important that you not be fooled. The shelves of supplement stores, and the sports nutrition aisle at Walmart for that matter, are lined with too good to be true, outrageous claims from one end of to the other. Sometimes those claims are valid, but the vanishingly small amount of them are. It's best if you ignore the fancy colorful labels and do the research on the basic products. Now, this is also why I personally don't use proprietary blends. And those are the ones, you're going to go, you take a container down off the shelf, you look at it, it's got a fancy holographic label, it's got a grocery list of ingredients on the back, but no indication of what's what, no indication of how much of anything is in there, just a single number of the total combined weight of what's in the container. I don't use those. I'm not going to be talking about those. I like to know what I'm taking, why I'm taking it, and how much of it I'm taking, because that's the important details. And we are going to be talking specifically about specific ingredients, because there are things that I take for a reason that will be completely useless to other people because they don't have the same goals that I do. Before we get any further though, I want to make sure that it's understood. I'm not a doctor. This does not constitute medical advice. We are not talking about general health supplements here. We're not talking about cod liver oil, fish oil, multivitamins, CoQ10, ashwagandha, whatever the case may be. We're looking purely at pre-workout supplements. We have a very narrow focus today. We may revisit the general health thing in the future. Again, talking about specifically what I take myself and why, what I've done the research on. But I am not a doctor. And before you embark on any major change to your lifestyle, whether that's going to the gym, starting a supplement plan, just taking up golfing if you haven't done it before, I don't care what it is, talk to your doctor. Make sure they're on the same page as you are. Make sure you're good to go. Do not just take my word for it and say, well, Lit says it's fine. I implore you, your health is the single most important thing you have. And I encourage you to talk to your doctor before you do anything, make any major changes to your lifestyle. And with all that meat and potatoes out of the way, let's dive in. Now I'm going to make a liar out of myself almost immediately because this first one does not necessarily constitute a pre-workout supplement. But what is the number one supplement most people think about when they think about people who go to the gym? They think about exercise. They think about body composition changes. They think about protein every time. Whey, casein, pea, soy. It doesn't really matter. Protein is the number one thing people think about, and for good reason. Now, across the board, unless you have dietary restrictions, protein is protein. You can get enough protein out of food. You can. You don't need this. It's a supplement, as we've already discussed. The reason most people use it is because it's hard for them to get enough protein to hit their goals, to hit the numbers they're shooting for. And we are not going to get into how you derive those numbers. That is not the focus of this. We will circle back around to that another time. But it is hard for people to get the protein numbers they are shooting for the majority of the time out of whole foods without running afoul of issues with carbohydrates or fats, causing them to go over on their calorie total. So for the most part, whatever is the cheapest protein is going to be perfectly fine. The main difference is going to be, like I was saying, dietary issues. Some people, their stomach cannot handle whey blends, and you're going to be looking at more expensive whey protein isolates, which use fractions of the whey that are more easily digested. Some people are vegan, and so they're going to be looking at proteins like there are entire brands dedicated. Blessed is one, dedicated to vegan protein lines. Protein based on peas, protein based on soy, protein that is not derived from any animal sources, aiming to be cruelty-free, what have you. Across the board, if you don't have a dietary restriction, you should be perfectly fine and well served to buy whatever is the most affordable protein for you. Whether you're going to go to Costco and buy it off the shelf, whether you're going to go to Walmart and buy it in a tub, whether you're going to go to some other specialty brand store, have a brand that you like, a particular flavor you prefer, and find it there. The details of it, outside of dietary restrictions, aren't important. It exists to build skeletal muscle, help you hit those numbers, and prevent muscle catabolism, which is its own thing. Outside the scope again. That brings us to number 2, the undisputed king of sports supplements, creatine monohydrate, in whatever brand you prefer. You don't need much. 5 grams a day, creatine monohydrate. Some people, their stomach can't quite handle monohydrate. There are other forms out there. Creatine hydrochloride, pre-alkaline, Purple K. Different brands, different lines. Some people's stomach can't handle, some people can. Some people are creatine non-responders. Moral of the story, whatever your stomach can handle and is most affordable, get that. Brand doesn't matter. As for what it does, creatine is honestly pretty cool. The way your muscles produce energy is through something called the ATP-ADP pathway. And we're going to be quick about this. Your muscles use something called adenosine triphosphate when under low rep, high exertion exercises. You're under the bench, you are forcing the bench press, you are pushing that bar hard in a range of 4 or 5 reps. You are using adenosine triphosphate. Your body takes creatine, stores it in the muscle cells as phosphocreatine, and it powers that pathway. Creatine is in food, there's just not very much of it. The more creatine is in your muscles, the more force you can exert under that load in those high exertion, low rep exercises. The ability to do more work in the same amount of time is what leads to the potential gains over time. It's not a magic supplement. You still have to put the work in. Taking creatine encourages your muscles to have more adenosine triphosphate in them, which allows you to do maybe 1 more rep under the bar than you could have done without it. And that 1 more rep at this workout, and 1 more rep at that workout, and 2 more reps on this other workout, and then, and so on, over the course of weeks, months, years, adds up to more gain over the same amount of time than you would have otherwise experienced without it. It's a little bit of an edge. And this is the king of over-the-counter sports supplements. That's the thing we need to understand when it comes to supplementation. It's a little bit of an edge. This is not going to turn you into Arnold overnight. This is not a hormone that's going to change your life. It's going to give you a little more force, and you still need to put the work in. It's going to be hard, but it will give you an edge. And that's moving swiftly on brings us to beta-alanine. Now, the brands themselves will disagree with me, but at the end of the day, there is no difference. Whether you buy from this brand, that brand, or some other third brand, beta-alanine is beta-alanine. Now, what it does is it is a precursor to carnosine, which is, much like creatine, a molecule held inside the muscle cells that allows you to do more work, but a different kind of work than creatine. Beta-alanine is an endurance athlete supplement. So for most weightlifters, it's completely pointless. Where beta-alanine shines is for any set lasting more than 2 minutes in length. You are not going to, if you're a powerlifter, get under the bar and do a set of squats that's going to take you more than 2 minutes to complete. You are not going to, if you're a bodybuilder, get under the bar and do a set of bench presses that will take you more than 2 minutes to complete. But if you're a runner, like myself, a cyclist, a swimmer, you will be doing things that will take more than 2 minutes in duration. Much like creatine, it builds up in the muscles. It allows you to do more work over the same amount of time you would otherwise be able to do so without it. You still have to do the work. This is the secret. This is the trick. You still have to put the work in. But over time, again, days, weeks, months, years, you will shave a few more seconds than you otherwise would have shaved off your 1 mile time, your marathon time. You will shave a few more seconds off your lap time, a few more seconds off whatever endurance activity it is that you're trying to complete. Now, this is something that I will warn you in advance. When you first start taking it, you might experience what they call the tingle. Now, a lot of companies with, I said I wouldn't talk about it, proprietary blends, they include beta-alanine in their pre-workout supplements, specifically because when you are new to taking it, you experience a feeling that can be best described as ants under your skin. It's completely harmless. Nobody really knows why it happens, but it's a feeling that people come to associate with the pre-workout working. It's a meaningless feeling. It doesn't actually mean anything, but people associate the feeling with the feeling of going to the gym, and it becomes a psychosomatic connection. Eventually that feeling will go away. Personally, I take it every day, just like I do creatine. I feel it helps me with my run time, and I don't experience any kind of tingle at all. At least not anymore. In the very beginning, I did a little. Now, we are already getting into things that are of questionable use. Enter citrulline malate. Now, citrulline malate has less to do with performance than the previously discussed. The main reason people take citrulline malate is because it's an arginine precursor. What does that mean? It's a pump supplement. It is a muscle cell, blood cell volumizer. It dilates the blood vessels. It increases the amount that your veins show up on the surface of your skin. When you're doing exercise, it increases the amount you get pumped up in front of the mirror. And forgive me. And it increases the amount of pump that you have. Now, some people love the feeling. I am one of them. I will be honest, when I'm at the gym, I like being able to stand in front of the mirror and do the exercise and feel like it's working. And I know a lot of that's in my head. And I know it's admittedly a little bit vain, but at the same time, it feels nice to feel like you're accomplishing something with the work that you're putting in. Now, that said, there is some evidence that increased volumization increases nutrient flow to the targeted muscles. That when you're doing that, those heavy curls and your arm muscles are more pumped up than they would otherwise be, there is more volume of fluid in them than there would otherwise be, that there is therefore more nutrient density being sent to them than there would otherwise be. There is some evidence to support this, but I will be straight with you, it is going to be a vanishingly small increase in performance over time. I could sit here and I could tell you, well, but the container says it boosts your performance. The container says it allows you to perform high intensity workouts, and that's why we use it. I could say that, and there is some evidence to support that, but I'm going to be straight with you. The vast majority of people who use it, and I'm including myself in this, use it because we just like the pump. It's just something we like some people who get addicted to the feeling of the tingles from beta-alanine. It feels like it's working. Pump is fun. I have a question for you. What do these 3 drinks have in common? They come in a can, you use them for energy, and I just gave it away. Caffeine. Caffeine is the single most ubiquitous, well-known central nervous system stimulant out there. It is a drug. Let's not gloss over this. It is a drug. And people assume that because it's in everything, it's perfectly safe and we can just have as much of it as we want to. There is enough caffeine in this bottle to stop my heart 10 times over. You have to treat this with respect. There is no denying that. And it's easy to forget that it is dangerous. Every year, it seems like, I hear about young athletes abusing caffeine, abusing energy drinks, abusing some source of stimulant, and winding up tragically losing their lives because they didn't know any better, because caffeine is everywhere. And we assume if something is everywhere, it's safe. And it can be safe if it's used responsibly. The trick is to use it responsibly. Now, why does it work? Why am I including it here? Well, the difference between a power lifter who is 180 pounds and at the top of their game and pulling 700 pounds in competition, and a 200-pound man who is not a power lifter but goes to the gym every day and can pull 300-pound deadlift, functionally they have the same amount of muscle mass on them. The difference is their central nervous systems are differently adapted. That power lifter has the same amount of muscle mass on him, but his central nervous system is adapted to produce more power, more force. Caffeine is a central nervous system stimulant, and it allows you to do more work. Now, this does not build up in your body in the same way that creatine or beta-alanine will. This is something you would need to take, and you need to take more and more and more of it because you will build a tolerance, because it's a drug. The recommendation is, if you're going to use it, use a responsible amount of it, and then only use it up until you hit the point at which you're not getting the effect, and then taper back off of it. Do not stop cold turkey, taper back off of it. Talk to your doctor. I cannot exaggerate this enough. Talk to your doctor. Just because it comes off the shelf doesn't mean it can't hurt you. Depending on when you're working out, you're going to want an energy source, something introduced to your stomach so you're not using your own body to feed itself. Enter carbs. And you're probably a little surprised to see this one. Dextrose is as simple a carbohydrate source as it gets. Now, you can go to the supplement store and you can buy yourself designer carbohydrates off the shelf. And they will claim to have timed release, this and that in there. And you will see words and names of all sorts. Carboline, maltodextrin. Now, maltodextrin is a thing. And it is a somewhat slower digesting carbohydrate than straight dextrose. But I want you to investigate the ingredients on the side of a container of Gatorade powder, or any other electrolyte powder for that matter. And you will find that one of the first ingredients is sugar, dextrose. Now, you don't necessarily need the electrolytes unless you're, again, engaging in endurance activities and you're sweating a pile. The point and purpose of the carbohydrate source is to give your body something to consume, so it's not consuming itself while you're engaging in whatever exercise it is that you're doing. Now, if you're, again, an endurance athlete, this is going to be about 30 grams of carbs every half hour, hour of running. You don't need a pile of it right out the gate. Carb loading is a thing of the past. If you're a power lifter, a weightlifter, a bodybuilder, whatever the case may be, you are going to just want to have maybe 30 grams in your pre-workout mix that you're sipping on over the course of the workout, if that workout is lasting longer than about a half an hour to an hour in length. It's purely to give yourself something to run off of so you're not just running off of fumes. And that's only if your meal, your last meal, was far enough away from the workout window that you have nothing left to run on. Myself, and the reason why I use this is because my last meal is usually at noon. I'm usually lifting weights in the evening around 6 o'clock. I might come home and go for a run first and then come home and eat. I want to make sure that I'm not cramping up out there, hence the electrolyte infused carbs. And or if I'm not going for a run, I'm going straight to the weights, I want to make sure I have something to work with, hence the carbohydrates that don't have electrolytes. You don't need fancy designer carbs. This bag of dextrose is for winemaking, and it is $5 at Walmart or any other off-the-shelf store. We have officially reached the bottom of the barrel. BCAAs. And yes, this is the same brand, and I will get to why that is in a minute. Now, the claim is that you take BCAAs before and during your workout, and the intention is that they are fractions of proteins, specifically the branched chain amino acids, and they go into your system and they prevent muscle catabolism while you're working out, and they kickstart the sequence of repair. Now, normally these are kind of expensive, and they were purported to be the next big thing, but I'll let you in on a little secret. You want to know what else has branched chain amino acids in it? Literally any other protein. You don't need these at all. The only reason I have these and why I have so many of them is because a couple of years ago, I tripped across a deal where I got a dozen of these tubs for the price of one, and I would have been insane to walk away from it. That is legitimately the only reason I have these. I also just like the way they taste. The main reason anybody would use, I feel, and this is my personal opinion, branched chain amino acids, or EAAs, essential amino acids, in their pre-workout mix is because typically those come flavored. And if you like the flavor, because nothing else I just showed you comes flavored, it adds a little bit of something to your pre-workout. It makes it taste not like salt water. Most people don't want to have chocolate or vanilla flavored pre-workout, but in our modern age, you don't have to settle for that. They make protein in blue raspberry and all sorts of crazy flavors now. Carbonated proteins I've never seen before. It changed my perspective on weightlifting supplementation. The first time I tried blue raspberry protein, it blew me away. All that said, this is not necessary, especially if you have a meal, especially if you have an alternate protein source. But if you, like me, can get a really good deal and you like the flavor, this Italian blood orange is to die for. It is fantastic. I'm working my way through these because this is the good one. Then there's no reason to not. It doesn't hurt anything. There's really not much you're going to gain, especially if you have an alternate protein source, a whole protein source, and I keep grabbing this bag, but you don't need that. So don't go thinking, oh, he takes it, so it must be good or necessary. I take it because I like it and because I got a screaming deal. At the end of the day, now I have one more little bonus entry at the end for a supplement that I don't take anymore, but I used to, and I know it works at what it's supposed to do. It's known as Glycerol Monostearate, and it's well known in the food industry as an emulsifier and binding agent. It encourages fats and water to stick together in food. It encourages water content to not be lost in packaging. In the sports industry, it's a pump supplement. You add it to your shaker bottle, you drink it back with everything else, and it encourages your muscle cells to hold on to even more volume of water than they would otherwise be able to. The effect is transitory. You do wind up going to the bathroom afterwards, and all that water comes back out again. But when it comes to pump supplements, and I mention this because I mentioned how much I like Citrulline Malate, where Citrulline Malate is a star, Glycerol Monostearate is the sun. It is an incredibly effective supplement at causing and enhancing the pump sensation and the pump feeling. The jury is out as to whether this has any measurable effect on performance, aside from the psychosomatic effect of feeling pumped up, similar to the effect of Citrulline Malate itself. In fact, I know of only offhand 2 supplement brands that even produce it for sale as a sports supplement, and I'm not going to name them because I'm not going to promote something that I myself don't use. I'm telling you about it, and if it's something that is interesting, you're by all means, you're welcome to look into it. I'm not going to promote a specific brand that I'm not using right now. That's not how I operate. But I have used it in the past, and it was enjoyable. It has zero effect that I could determine on my performance, but it felt fun. And that pretty much brings us to the end of the list when it comes to things that actually have a measurable impact on your performance in the gym. And to be perfectly frank, some of the things that I listed off, as I stated explicitly, don't really have a measurable impact on your performance in the gym. I like them for other reasons. There are so many things beyond what we've discussed today that you can find on the shelf at the store. Why are they there if they don't work? Because so long as there's somebody willing to spend money to find out, there is somebody willing to sell it to them. Now, do not take me as the end-all be-all expert on this. By all means, do your research beyond just what I have to say. And by all means, if you think I'm wrong, come to the comments, let me know. Am I totally off base about branched chain amino acids? Feel free to let me know your opinion. I'm open to it, I'm all ears. But otherwise, until next time, we'll discuss something else, something entirely different, and I will talk to you then. I'll catch you later.